On that note, this is the point of the evening that I think all of us have been waiting for. I'm really excited about this. Our keynote speech this evening will be delivered by someone we admire greatly, someone who has the passion to serve and the passion to communicate. As head of the communications and chief spokesperson for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, Mrs. Melissa Fleming leads all communication efforts around the globe and serves as chief spokesperson. Operating in 120 countries, UNHCR provides shelter and help for over 30 million people who have fled wars and persecution. Melissa Fleming has flown all the way from Geneva, Switzerland to be with us here tonight. Let's give it up for that. Though I do suspect, it's winter in Geneva right now, so I bet it's more like a little vacation. Anyway, and she's going to share her experiences with us and about the internationally displaced refugee population and the importance of a successful resettlement. So please join me in giving your warm welcome to Mrs. Melissa Fleming. Would you like it on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we have the PowerPoint. So, the different varying heights up here. I think it's the evening for stories, and I'm going to tell you some stories that are examples of what we're going through. When Doa al-Samal was 16, the world she grew up in came to an end because it was September 2012, and she lived in Dera. Many of you know it, many of you here are from Syria or have family from Syria. This was an ancient city, or is, in southwestern Syria. And the year before, a group of teenagers there were arrested for writing a simple slogan on the school wall. It said, "The people want the fall of the regime." And protests followed, which spiraled, and the authorities cracked down. And well, you know, the rest is history. The Syria uprising had begun. And a year later, the uprising turned into a dreadful civil war. And the life Doha knew was over, and she escaped with her family to Jordan and later to Egypt, and she worked as a seamstress in a very difficult time. The income of her father was not enough. It was a very hard life, and she decided, she was only 19 then, and you know when you're 19 years old, you really believe and hope this is the time for your life of blossoming opportunity. She was engaged to be married, and she thought with her fiancé, we can have a better life in Europe. There were no signs of things improving in Syria. So 2 years into her exile, she decided with her fiancé to take a boat to Europe. And she knew what the odds were, that 1 in 10 people die risking their lives just to reach the safety of Europe, and it was terrifying. So imagine the desperation that she must have felt to take a decision like that. And she and her fiancé found a space on a smuggler's boat. It was a big boat, but probably had 500 people on it, way over capacity. And they set sail, and 4 days later, off the coast of Malta, another boat approached theirs, and it started encircling her boat. And everybody was looking out who were on the top deck in wonder. And that boat started ramming the boat she was on. And what happened was it rammed a hole into the boat, and the people below deck just sank. They had no chance. The boat that rammed them, by all accounts of the survivors, stood and watched just to make sure the boat was sinking. So about 100 people, by her account, fell into the water. Some were chopped by the boat's propeller. She grabbed a life belt, one of the few, and looked around for Bassem, her fiancé, but he wasn't there. And so for 3 days, she floated in the water. And hour by hour, fellow survivors started to die. Some of cold, some of thirst, some of hunger, some just out of sheer fear. One man, she told us, took off his life vest and simply allowed himself to sink into the depths of the sea. But as the end drew near, one man handed her his 1-year-old granddaughter, and she placed that little child on her life belt. And then a mother with a 6-year-old boy handed her 18-month girl, and she put that little girl on her life belt. And then she watched as the grandfather, the mother, and the 6-year-old died. But caring for those little children kept her going hour after hour, but the little 1-year-old, unfortunately, also passed away just moments before they were rescued 90 miles off the island of Crete. So of those 500 people who died, only 11 survived. And I want to ask this room, how many of you heard of this boat tragedy? This is, I think I saw one hand. It's not your fault. It's just when refugees die, it seems to be a statistic. But today, Doha is alive and well, and she's staying with a family in Greece, and she's hoping to reunite with her family in Sweden. And the little 18-month-old is being taken care of by the community, and I just heard some news the other day that actually her mother, who had thought that all of her children had died, is still in Damascus, and there are attempts to bring her mother to Greece. So there is some hope in this story. If we can have the PowerPoint, I want to show you her picture. Oops, there we go, sorry. There she is now. And I'm sorry for spending so long. She's a hero, actually, in Greece. She saved that one baby's life, at least, and her own. And I'm sorry for spending so long on one story. But for me, Doha's struggle encapsulates why I do this, and I think it encapsulates why you are all here. There has to be a better way. Around the world today, there are 50 million people forcibly displaced, more than 50 million people, forcibly displaced from their homes from violence or displacement, and that is more people forcibly displaced since any time since World War II. And the numbers keep on rising. 12 million of these people are refugees and under the care of my organization, UNHCR. Yeah. You know, I'm using Syria, though, tonight as an example because Syrian refugees, who number almost 4 million, have now overtaken Afghan refugees as the biggest population of refugees in the world. And just to mention that Syria used to be one of the biggest refugee receiving countries in the world, so how quickly things can change. So for many people, though, being a refugee and Syrian refugees, this is dismissed as old news. Syrian refugees are the ones who escaped, after all. They're out of danger, right? Doesn't their story end there? No, there's so much in the news media going on in this world, and even the public is getting tired of their flight, but their story does not end at the border. It's where it begins. Unfortunately, though, the situation for Syria's refugees, with the conflict going on and on, has become immeasurably worse. But it's even far worse for those who are remaining inside Syria, who are living on the very edge of survival. And there are over 12 million people inside the country. That's almost half the remaining population of Syria that rely on humanitarian aid just to survive. I visited Syria recently, and I have to say I was totally unprepared for what I saw. I've seen the news images, I read the reports from the 450 UNHCR staff that are working in Syria. But when I saw the old city of Homs, which was a UNESCO World Heritage City, it was a point of tourist destination and the epicenter. It became, though, the epicenter of Syria's civil war. I saw very few people in the streets. I saw this boy, we met this boy, and you know what he said to us? He looked down at this missile and he said, very matter-of-factly, "That's the missile that killed my father." And I walked through the streets that were littered with rubble, and the remains of the buildings looked like skeletons to me. And it felt very eerie. It was as if there was no sound, not even birds were singing. It was as if the city's very soul had fled with those who escaped. And what remained was an absence, the silence of the lost. The remaining residents in the outskirts of the old city, where it was relatively safe, lived in grim discomfort like this. This was an abandoned, this was a school that we visited, and actually the whole first floor of the school was occupied by displaced people. And a businessman was feeding them. He was making their sandwiches himself every day. They had no heat and no water. The children attended classes upstairs. And this is a woman I met who also lived there. But at the border, inside Syria is terrible, but at the border, I'm worried that these people are going to have a hard time escaping. Thank you very much. Because at the borders are becoming much more restricted. It's increasingly difficult to escape Syria. Those who do make it across are finding themselves confronted with local communities who are themselves in crisis. And unfortunately, these local communities are turning hostile to more refugees arriving. I have to say, this is not for lack of generosity. Far from it. Syria's neighbors, for example, Lebanon, and if you look at this picture, the red dots represent where there are refugees. This is a country of 4 million people, and there are over 1.2 million Syrian refugees in the country. Almost 25%, if you take the Palestinian refugees of Lebanon's populations, are now refugees. It's actually quite amazing that they've been so welcoming for so long. And Jordan and Turkey and Egypt and Iraq have shown or set a global example for human solidarity in a time of extreme need, and they have borne, without very much help or recognition from the international community, an overwhelming burden of a war that they have played absolutely no part in creating. So why the hostility? It is growing because they are overwhelmed and they're struggling to survive themselves. One in 4 families, and this is a tragedy of the war, are headed by women alone, and women who've lost their husbands to the war, whose husbands are dead or missing or imprisoned. And unfortunately, because of the overwhelming numbers, they're facing discrimination and abuse at every turn. And even their children, because of laws in Syria and in the neighboring countries that does not allow women to pass on their nationality to their children, many of these children are facing potential statelessness. Families have exhausted their savings, and what really kills me is to see children like these a little bit older than hers, resorting, instead of going to school, to begging, to working in the fields for as little as $3 to $4 a day, just to make ends meet. Some women are even resorting to prostitution. When I visited a refugee community in Lebanon just last week, what I witnessed for me was, it felt like the end of hope. I remember it was not that long ago when I went, and there were just about 1 million refugees in the neighboring countries, and everyone I talked to would say to me, when I go back, and they'd look at their refugee tent and say, this is temporary. My home, they would talk about with longing, and when I get to fix those walls and sit in my own garden. I'm afraid they've come to realize that there is no end in sight to this horrible war, and there are very few options available to them. This was a tweet that I think represents the sad irony of what's happening to a lot of children. Yet in other parts of the world, including right here in California and Anaheim, people are living through a period of unprecedented prosperity. We have new technologies that are generating booming wealth, opening worlds of opportunity for their citizens. And this is a really wonderful thing. We should celebrate this, all this potential. But also, and I think I'm speaking to a like-minded group here, I believe a civilized society should aspire for all people to share in that opportunity. And this is for the sake of humanity, but also to break the cycle of violence and to have a peaceful future in the world. And all of us who are prosperous, who have means, and governments as well, need to start shouldering the burden of the greatest humanitarian crisis of our era. Unfortunately, tragically, we at UNHCR, who are in constant crisis mode, we see a world and governments of this world that are incapable of uniting to prevent and to stop wars. And we feel that the world is pulling away in its responsibility to help the victims. I worry also, and I live in Europe, we see that in many European countries, anti-immigration movements are growing stronger, and particularly now after the Paris massacre attacks, there are dangers and there are views, and you read it in the press and headlines and in some politicians, viewing Muslims as a threat, all Muslims. Germany and Sweden, which receive half of all refugees in the European Union, are seeing rising opposition movements, anti-immigration, anti-refugee opposition movements, and we're hearing a lot of hate speech. And we've also seen pushbacks at the borders of Europe. I hate to say it, but also here in this country, I've read some very disturbing headlines of late linked to announcements by the US government that they're going to increase the numbers of refugees from Syria that they're going to resettle here. Very disturbing rhetoric linking Syrian asylum seekers and resettled Syrian refugees as potential terrorists. You know, we've heard that story before. So back to a little, I'm afraid I'm telling not some very good news, but hopefully I'll get a little more hopeful. But colleagues of mine, just to paint a picture, this is also in Athens. They told me about this story of meeting 8 Syrian and Palestinian men who were in a basement in Athens, and they were all swapping stories about how they escaped. Each of them had a different story to tell. Ahmed tried to reach Greece at night from Turkey on a boat, and that it had 34 other Syrian men in it, Syrian refugees. It had small children, an double amputee. And when they were out in the dark, a Greek Coast Guard vessel appeared and masked men came on board their vessel. And what did they do? They removed the engine and they dropped it in the sea. These are the Coast Guard. And Ahmed was badly beaten as he tried to climb onto the Coast Guard's boat. And this is what he told us. He said, "We are Syrians. If you send us back, we'll die there." And he'll never forget their answer. They said, "Die, but don't come here." A colleague of mine posted another story recently that I can't forget. Her name is Carlotta, she's from Italy, and she was in Greece recently, and she wrote this on Facebook after she met a little girl. She wrote, "The happiness of Tala lasted only 1 year, from the day she was born in Aleppo until the bombs and the shelling started, forcing them to flee. And during one of the bombings, she lost her mother. And she left Syria hand in hand with her father, a young man of 32 years. And they tried to live as refugees in Turkey, but without any resources. And Dad must have thought, this is not a life for Tala. He had no more money, so he put himself and his daughter in the hands of a trafficker that promised to take them across the Evros River. This is the river that separates Greece and Turkey. It is very wide, several kilometers, then a mud bank and brambles, then a channel, another bank, another channel. It took at least 2 days to cross, and the water was up to his chest, and Dad, with little Tala on his shoulders and a raised arm to keep the bundle of clothes dry. Exhausted and drenched, they walked in the woods, mud and snow to the knees, and they've gone out of breath, and they sheltered in a small hovel. I think it looks like this, sorry, I had it. They sheltered in this small hovel. And Dad collected wood sticks but could not light the fire, and the last of his forces must have been used to put dry clothes on Tala. Then he slowly died. Tala was found by chance. A shepherd was driving nearby and noticed a small creature with dark curls in the rear view mirror of his pickup car. She did not say a word. She did not cry. My colleague visited Tala, and for protection reasons, we're not showing her face because this got a tremendous amount of publicity, this story. She's being taken care of in a center in Saloniki, Greece, and hopefully family members will be able to come and help her. But this is not, something is wrong with this picture when a man from Syria trying to seek safety in Europe freezes to death as he is trying to get there. Last year alone, over nearly 220,000 refugees fled in unsafe boats across the Mediterranean. This is 3 times the previous record during the previous record. Nala said in her speech, things are getting worse. Yes, things are getting worse, and I'm sorry for dropping this on you in this dinner, but unfortunately, thousands never make it, and they, last year, 3,000 died in the Mediterranean, hardly making a wave in the news. And yet, Europe's response to this growing tragedy is not to step up its rescue efforts, but instead to phase them out. This is entirely wrong. And I want to say this loud and clear, and we're saying this over and over again as the hostility grows. The greatest threat to the world is to refugees, not from them. We should not be shutting the drawbridge at their moment of greatest need. We should be taking this opportunity to show our humanity by protecting vulnerable people and helping them learn the skills and helping them heal so that when they do eventually go home or settle in a new country, they will become citizens of this world that will contribute to a better and peaceful future. This year, we commemorate the 70th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. And after that dreadful conflict, we came together to build a new system. The United Nations was born, my organization was born, and we swore as a global community, and I quote, to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and the worth of the human person, to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom. Unquote. Those were very powerful words, and they underline the gravity of those times. But today we're living through similarly grave times, and those principles become more important than ever. And I wonder, can we live up to them? Because today we are faced with a humanitarian calling of a lifetime. And some, not this group included, but some are really, I have to say, we're failing in our task. Local communities, aid agencies, and international organizations are no longer able to cope with this crisis. And recently, just an example, we issued the largest humanitarian appeal in our history. More than $8 billion we asked for, and this was to help Syrian refugees and the communities that host them. The absolute minimum we could ask for, but we fear we'll only get a fraction of that. This appeal was much more than last year, but last year we were only half funded when we ended the year. So we're falling short on even the minimum of support for people who are literally going through hell. Yet, if we are to turn this situation around, we could move beyond it, and I believe that it's not only the right thing to do, but it's in the strategic self-interest of the world to help refugees not just to survive, but also to thrive. To address not just the loss of their resources that comes with being a refugee, but the loss of their dignity and the loss of their hope. And to give them options beyond taking boats of death on the Mediterranean, to give their life a sense of purpose and possibility other than through violence and revenge. Two ways to achieve that. You can give to us. You can give to great organizations like Access California, and you can support the host countries back home who are taking such a huge share of the burden. I want to tell you another little story, though, about Lebanon and somebody I met there recently. Just last week. Where's Shireen? That's her brother. Shireen. So I was in Lebanon, and I said, can I go meet somebody who's getting an opportunity, please? Because I've been hearing too many sad stories. So somebody who's received a scholarship. And I met Shireen, who has received a scholarship. It's a German government program called the Albert Einstein German Academic Refugee Initiative. And she and her brother applied together. They were brought up as twins, and they both wanted to be engineers. And they're both refugees living in Lebanon. And she received the scholarship, and she said to me, as follows. She said, it was like a gift from God. I can study, I can be successful in my education, and I will not let anything stop me. In Syria, I lived in a front line of war. I had to study under my bed using a candle. When I finished my exams, my dad said, now we can go. And she's in a university in Lebanon in the Bekaa Valley studying communications engineering. But her tale was tinged, and I'm coming back to her brother. I kept switching to him. This is her brother. He's taking one course because that's all he can afford, and he's working 16 hours a day in a restaurant because he did not receive the scholarship himself. She said, they chose me and I feel bad, and what a loss, because this is an example of such a driven, a talented family, exactly the kind of people to bring back to Syria peace and prosperity the day that war will end. Most of the Syrian refugees want to go back, and unfortunately, very few are receiving the opportunities like Shireen. I want to talk to you just for a few more minutes about resettlement, because resettlement is a big theme for you here, and this is Access California's big mandate. Access California takes over where UNHCR leaves off. So what we do is we identify people for resettlement. And in the Syria situation, we had a pledging conference in December where countries around the world pledged to resettle 100,000 Syrian refugees. This is a wonderful thing. But we estimate that of the almost 4 million Syrian refugees, 10% are in real need of resettlement. So this falls far short of what is needed. Who are the people we identify for resettlement? These are people who are struggling to survive in countries that are overwhelmed, like Lebanon. They are single women, people with medical conditions, people who've been tortured, orphans, people who just cannot live under these conditions. But I have to say, the United States has a fantastic record on resettlement. Annually, the United States takes in more refugees than any other country of the countries in the world and combined. So, yeah. And as you know, and as you represent here, these refugees and their children play a major and vibrant part of United States life. Did you know that more than 1% of the entire US population is a resettled refugee or the child of a resettled refugee? And this year, the United States is expected to resettle 70,000 people, and of whom over 18,000 will come from the Middle East, mostly from Iraq, Iran, and Syria. And California will play its part in that. Historically, California is the #1 state in the US for resettlement. And in the past 5 years, Anaheim alone has welcomed, I hope my statistics are right, but 632 refugees. I commend this generosity, and it is deeply, deeply welcome. So when it is successful, resettlement, people are given not just a chance to survive in a tent in a squalid situation, but to heal and to thrive. Wonderful things can happen. And I'd like to end with one more story of Mahmoud. That's us interviewing refugees for resettlement. Mahmoud is from Aleppo, and he and his family went to Egypt and rented a small flat in the suburbs of Cairo. But it was a very hostile environment after the Muslim Brotherhood was ousted, and all of a sudden the climate for Syrian refugees was not good. And he was so taunted that he was afraid to go to school, but he wanted more than anything to go to school, and he begged his father every day, can I go to school? So his father took the decision to put Mahmoud, it was all he could afford, on a boat with hundreds of other Syrians and other refugees and asylum seekers, and set sail. But what happened was just before it even left Egyptian waters, actually the Egyptian Coast Guard fired on the boat, and Mahmoud witnessed actually a couple of people dying. And he was returned to Cairo. He was in detention for 10 weeks, and the bullying resumed. But he never left his dream. He said, one day we'll have a new house and a better place. He said, I will go to school and I will make friends. And in December 2013, I have to say, we did a video of him and his family, and my colleagues said, this video is so powerful and moving. You can't show it to the public because the family is too in danger, but I'm going to send it to Sweden, and to the Swedish government. And the Swedish government accepted the family for resettlement. And there they are in their new home in Torsby, Sweden. And Mahmoud is very happy. As you'll see here, he loves the snow. He's learning Swedish. He feels safe. And he said, I am so happy we came to this country where we feel safe. I want to forget all the difficulties and start all over again. And now he's making snow angels in the yard. Yeah. So can there be anything more beautiful than a chance to turn a child's life around? To offer a child who's lost everything in a war a chance to heal and to grow? Well, you are doing just that. Your support it went away. I had a really beautiful picture. I'll say this again. Your support allows Access California to do so much to help resettled refugees to restart their lives in the United States. You do so much through your contributions to usher your fellow human beings through openings of light and to provide them with a life of peace. I am grateful that California and Anaheim has such a vibrant community that is willing to take that step. And I had the great pleasure to meet Nahla today and Halut, and also to meet many of the staff. And I was so overwhelmed by their commitment and their passion. And I was really deeply impressed by the range of their service and how caring they are to the people that they help. So they and you, who are donors to Access California, you all represent humanity at its best. And it's been my deep honor to be among you tonight and to speak to you. Thank you very much.
Please put your hands together for Mrs. Melissa Fleming. All right, and Nahla would like to present an appreciation award on behalf of Access California Services to Melissa Fleming for coming all the way here and giving us this inspiring and wonderful talk. So once again, thank you very much.
So, Melissa, we're very honored to have you here among the community that have been supporting refugees and believe every refugee should thrive. Thank you so much. This is a small plaque that you can put it on your wall,
Yes.
in your office, so you can remember us from Anaheim, California. Thank you.
All right, as they're taking the pictures and everything, I think the ushers are going to come back through one more time with the baskets to collect more of your donations. And so once again, please don't hesitate to give generously. Okay? At this point in the evening, I think we've been inspired, we felt good about ourselves, we've given, And so now one part about Access, and probably one of my favorite parts about it is I love Access because there's a lot of fun people that are there, and they do fun pretty well down at Access. Yes, a lot of work, but there's some good people there. And so on the point of fun, we'd like to bring up our entertainment for the evening, Tehran, who is a stand-up comedian. And you might see him Mondays and Thursdays at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood and on TV on Comedy Central. So without further ado, Tehran, please.
Yeah, that was enough applause. Thank you. No more. No. Especially after all the speakers that you guys have had on the stage today. Amir Abdullah, he's freaking amazing. Melissa Fleming, guys, let's hear it for her. All these esteemed, educated, I feel like a loser, to be honest. All these people just have done so much, and of course, Nahla, we love you. We are here because of the work that you do. This is amazing work, honestly. Guys, I need a lot of energy from the room. I would think a room full of Arabs would have a lot more energy than this. I've been to your people weddings. I know what you're capable of. I need to hear some, I need something. I need some love here because honestly, the work that you do, I'm not getting married, okay? The work that you do is amazing. It's beautiful. All these people are here for that work because it's that important to this. It's important to all of us. It's important to our communities. Thank you, Nahla June. Thank you so much, honestly. Just going to the office and watching what you do, it made me realize there's so many different people here. It's not just one kind of people. Like, let's do a quick census of the room. Are there any Indian people here? 1 billion Indians and 3 of you showed up? That's it? What about Persians? Are there some Persians here? The Arabs made you go sit in the back, huh? I understand that. I'm almost afraid to ask. Where are the Arabs? Security, can we? I noticed none of the Lebanese or Egyptian people clapped. Are there Lebanese and Egyptian people here? Yeah. See, this is the thing. It's about bringing people together. A lot of people all in the same place with the same vision, the same idea for our community together. I visited the offices of AccessCal. You guys do so much work, and I realized that I need to be a better person. I need to start being a better person. I was the kind of person, before I came there would be like a homeless person on the road. On the side of the street, they would reach their hand out and say, "Can I have some money?" Like, I'm serious. Can I have money? Can I have $1? Do you have any change? And I would have a pocket full of change, and it would just be making noise, and I'd be like, "Oh, I don't have any change," and I would keep walking. But after I visited you, Nahla, when I saw that homeless guy on the side of the road, and he asked me for change, and he reached out his hand, and he said, "Do you have any change?" I reached into my pocket and held the change still so it didn't make any noise. Because I'm a better person now. I'm a better person. Thank you for making that happen. And I heard that we have some like congresswomen here and councilwomen and a police chief. Are they here? No, the police chief left? Whew, good, come on. Is the councilwoman still here? Is she still here? Because I got a parking ticket on Brookhurst. Can she? No? It's just interesting. And let me explain real quick why I got to be the entertainer for tonight. I'm actually Middle Eastern myself. That's why it's so important to me. I'm half Persian, half black. Yeah, half Persian, half black. So when white people hear that, basically I'm half nigga, half terrorist. They go crazy, but it's okay. It's like carjack, hijack, I'm capable of anything. You know what I'm saying? I was talking to the rapper Kamasi over there. I can't even speak hip hop. I'm like, "Yo, what up? I'm the bomb." And he thought I might really mean it. It's dangerous. In America right now, it's interesting to be Middle Eastern. It's worse to be black and Middle Eastern. Like when I get pulled over, honestly, now when I get pulled over, I'm like this. I'm already dead, don't shoot. I wonder, is the family here, the family that was in the jar outside, the preserving dignity, are they here? That was a beautiful family. I love that family. Are they here? They're not here? The family in the jar? It's like people put like zaytun and stuff in a jar. No, we put a family. We preserve dignity and enrich lives at AccessCal. A lot of people here I can see, very good-looking people. You guys are a very good-looking crowd. All the women are absolutely beautiful. All the men absolutely bald. I don't know. It's a true story. It's not me. It's the light. It's bouncing off your forehead, sir, into my eye. It's making it hard. And it's not easy to laugh at times like this, but I want you to remember one thing, that AccessCal is about hope. That's what it's for. So that's why it's important that we end on a positive note, because that's how they want to leave their legacy. It's a positive note. So I know it's hard after watching Ms. Fleming show us pictures of Compton and Syria and everything. I know it's hard to laugh, but sometimes that's what the best medicine is. The best medicine, and I know all of our parents want us to be doctors, so this is as close as I'm gonna get. It's very interesting watching. I don't make fun of black people, by the way. My mom's black and my dad's Persian. So I don't make fun of black women, because watching my mom, I realized that black women are very much like Middle Eastern women. They're strong, intelligent, amazing women that can do anything on this planet better than anyone else. Black women are very strong, intelligent, amazing women, can do anything on this planet better than anyone else, except for customer service. And here's the thing. I don't even know how black women are getting those jobs. Like how, if you call T-Mobile and a black woman answers the phone, hang up the phone. That customer care does not care. She does not care. She is not gonna help you. If you call and it's Miss Shanika Jenkins, hi, this is Miss Shanika Jenkins, how may I help you? There's nothing good gonna happen. Because she can be polite and rude at the same time. Like, sir, 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 how are you being polite and mean at the same time, Shanika? Like if you walk into DMV, exactly. You walk into DMV and a black woman is sitting like a big, nice, she's eating chicken at the counter. I don't know. Drive home on your suspended license. Nobody's getting help today. I don't talk about my mom. I don't talk about my mom. And I don't talk about Middle Eastern, like, I hate the stereotype that we're terrorists. That's the worst stereotype on the planet. That is the worst. The news tries very hard to make it happen. It is a lie. Anyone in here knows, Middle Eastern people, we are doctors, we are lawyers, we are engineers, we are strong, beautiful women, like all of you. I don't know where listen, there are no Middle Eastern terrorists, because honestly, to be a terrorist, you have to be on time for your flight, and it would be impossible for Middle Eastern people to be on time. The only culture I know of people who are late to the microwave. You go to and it dings 20 times before you get it. I'm just saying, I hate those stereotypes. Those stereotypes exist. Like we have a new case manager, Vivian. She's Asian. Vivian, are you here? Vivian, bow or something. Let me know you're here. I don't see, those are stereotypes and we laugh. Those are good, like, Vivian, thank you for being here. Honestly, Vivian, those stereotypes are stupid. Thank you for being here and not out there driving, because let's be honest, that one's true. That one's not a stereotype. That's a little true. But I met all the case managers, and I met everybody, and it was women from, like Tori from Afghanistan. It was so many people. I met Amira that nobody ever gets to meet because she hides in a corner. She hides from everybody. She hates speaking. I got to meet her. It was amazing. I got to meet everybody, and that's when I realized how important it is for us to work within our culture and our own communities. But the one thing I learned when I was there is that it's not just for Muslims and it's not just for Arabs. AccessCal is for everybody. They do not turn anyone away. Nobody. I saw a little baby from Cameroon come in, and it was the picture, you holding the baby. And it was like the best picture. It should be on the cover of Time magazine. It's you and this little black baby, and you're like, "Mwah, little black baby." And it's so beautiful, and it just makes me like so hopeful that we have a future. Like this is the future. We need more. We need more funding. So we need more Dr. El Khouri. Where's Dr. El Khouri? You're a baller. I heard you were balling. Platinum status. Popping bottles right there at the table. Thank you for your commitment. And you're a doctor, so my dad's very proud of you, just to let you know. My dad's very proud of you. That's the thing, we all have the same Middle Eastern experience with our parents. Like, all Middle Eastern parents do is watch the news all the time. And they watch it so loud on surround sound. And it can't be good news. It has to be bad news. If it's good news, they will change the channel and find some bad news. And anything that happens in the world, anywhere in the world, it's somehow your fault. My dad will just be like, "Tehran, I ask you to do two things, clean your room, become doctor, you didn't do nothing." And even now, at this age, like, people don't realize Middle Eastern parents love their kids more than anyone else. That's why we all still live at home. Because we're scared to leave. Like, we are the real Iranian hostage crisis. I'm never allowed to leave my house. Anytime I jump downstairs, I go downstairs to leave, my dad will pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Oh my God, Tehran, where are you going?" Like, I'm never coming back. That's how he talks. Like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Bubba, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna be back." And he'll be, "You're gonna go out this time of night?" This time of night, nigga, it is 3 PM. But they just, and then he'll say some crazy stuff. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to the mall, Bubba." "To the mall? Do you know what happened at the mall?" "Oh my God, I was watching the news, the bad news. 2 little girls, 8 years old, they were gonna go to the mall. They were gonna become doctors, both of them. They got kidnapped, then killed, then murdered at the mall." And I don't watch the news like he does, so I'm like, "Which mall, Bubba? Beverly Center, Century City?" "In Nigeria, Bubba, I was watching the news. In Nigeria, it's crazy. Don't leave." And then when I do leave, he's like, "Okay, you go to the mall, go, just stay. Stay at the mall, don't come home." It's just different. We're different than, that's why it's important that AccessCal does the work they do, because they're culturally sensitive. And you have to be culturally sensitive. Every kid in here knows that. Because American people, they just act differently than we do. But here's the thing you have to remember. We are Americans too, especially all of you with actual citizenships. Everyone with a green card, it's questionable. Don't worry, I'm not immigration. I'm not taking anyone away. But we're Americans, but it's just different. Like, white Americans and Middle Eastern Americans, very different upbringing. White people, they just bring you over to their house like it's nothing. They just tell, "Oh, come over to my house today." With us, we have to prepare you for 3 weeks in advance. Sleepover? There is no sleepover. There is no sleepover for us. You bring someone over, you have to tell them, take your shoes off at the door. When you come inside, say hello, because Americans don't say hello. And then when they don't, your parents are like, "Yeah, ma." Like, they just say things. It's just crazy how it works. Like, and then when you go to an American person's house, they have all these things for you. Like, when they ask you if you want some sweets, like, they have candy, M&Ms, ice cream. You come to a Middle Eastern person's house, they have like walnuts and freaking raisins. No, Bubba, nobody wants your freaking walnuts, Bubba. Nobody wants raisins right now. No, my friend doesn't want raisins, okay? Doesn't need that. It's just different. It's just different. Like, American people have boyfriends and girlfriends so easy. They're so easy. They just hold hands and they just, like, in front of their parents. Honestly, I might get married, and at the time when they're like, "You may kiss the bride," I'll high five my bride and walk away. Like, it's just different. We're just very different. Like, they hold and they're like, and they walk around and it's just so different. And that's the thing, like with us, right? With us, they always ask us when you're gonna get married. With American people, white people, they do that too, like at the age 30, 35. With us, it's like at the age of 13. When are you getting married? Like that's the number one question. When are you getting married? Every question, every party, everything. And the truth is, I don't know when I'm getting married because I'm afraid to get married. I'm afraid. I love black women, but I don't want to marry a black woman because I don't want black kids. They're bad. I don't know. I definitely don't want a Middle Eastern child. Oh, Middle Eastern children are like, because they do, like Middle Eastern girls, you're like, oh, they do this thing, oh, stop it. I'm at the mall and the middle is like, oh, stop it, stop. I'm like, you're 24, why are you acting like that? They just do, it's just, and here's the truth. Can I say something? Middle Eastern women are beautiful and amazing and the backbone of our people, but you're all crazy. Crazy, not even crazy. Crazy people talk to themselves. Middle Eastern women talk to themselves and agree with themselves. Which is a whole new level of craziness. Like if you marry a white woman and you do something wrong, or you're dating a white girl, you do something wrong, she's gonna get mad, she'll break up with you and leave. Not a Middle Eastern woman. You do something wrong with a Middle Eastern woman, she doesn't leave, bro. She stays. Forever. That's why you're all bald. This is why. Like honestly, and it's not just Middle Eastern. I was dating an Indian girl. And now we had to break up because she did this thing that girls do a lot, is which they like remember everything you say and then use it against you later. Like anything you say, they just remember and use it, but she did it so much more. And then I realized that's why all Indian women have that red dot on their forehead. She was recording me while I was talking. She would record me all the time and just play it back and just play it back. I'm scared to get married. I'm scared. It's just, it's a commitment. It's so much work. Even getting married, like when you're American, when you're a white American, it's easy to get married. You guys just like go to Las Vegas and get married over Tuesday. When you're black, it's easy too. Black guy, it's a little more, it's different. This is my impression of a black guy proposing to a girl. Yo, what's up, baby? I was thinking, it's halftime. I was just thinking real quick. Me and you, we've been together like 4 or 5 years. We have like 5, 6 kids. I think it's so, but for us, like when you're Middle Eastern, you have to like put in so much work. You have to go to the parents, your parents meet their parents. You have to take them flowers and cookies and your bake statement. It's so much. But the thing is, to get a Middle Eastern girl is actually kind of easy. A lot of people think it's hard. It's not as hard as you think. To get a Middle Eastern girl, first you have to go to medical school, and then it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And the thing is, I believe in the power of commercials, right? The power of the commercial is important. Anytime you ask a Middle Eastern person about anything, they tell you, it's like they're so passionate. You'll be like, Akbar, how's your new car? You just bought a brand new car. They'll be like, oh my God, I love my car, wallahi. I love it. It's so fast. I love it. Love it. You're like, Akbar, how's your new computer? I heard you got a new computer. How is it? Oh, it's the best computer, number one, wallahi. You people love saying wallahi, let's be honest. That's why I think you're all liars. Why do you keep saying wallahi? I believe you. I believe you. Wallahi, I have to go to the bathroom. I know, I get it. I don't think you're lying. Wallahi, it's the best computer on the planet. Anytime, Akbar, how are the wife and kids? I mean, they're alive, I don't know. They're good, I guess, I hate them. When are you gonna get married? That's the thing you have to understand. Like, in life, even the way we say marriage is like, what do you call it? Settled down. I don't want to settle down. I want to go up. Settle down. They call it settle down. I want more. But that's the thing. When I watch, but then I look at married people, and you guys, everybody who's happily married, please make some noise. A lot more people are married in this room. But that's the thing. Being happily married is the most beautiful thing on this planet. Being happily married is so important because you have a family, you have a structure, you have someone who's on your team, a teammate. That's why it's like being married and AccessCal, very similar. You have a teammate, someone who's on your team supporting you. That's why it's important. And the thing is, and I hate the stereotype like about Middle Eastern women, how they're subservient or they're weak. That's so stupid. So stupid. I tell friends and they'll tell me, oh, when you were in the Middle East, I went on tour in the Middle East. They were like, in the Middle East, bro, in the Middle East, did the women walk behind the men? I'm like, are you stupid, Tom? In the Middle East, the women walk beside their men. And honestly, Middle Eastern women walk in the front, they lead the way. Middle Eastern women, they lead the way. There's a lot of landmines in the Middle East, so, it's like, that's why it's a good thing we can have 4. Oh, there goes Fatima. Bring me Khadija. It's just interesting. And I don't know if you guys have studied on AccessCal. I know a lot of people here. Actually, it's funny because Sheikh Yasser was supposed to speak, but then they said, Amir and me is enough black people, it's done. They were like, it's too much. This isn't a black rally, it was enough. But he's a magnificent man. If you haven't spoken to him, you should. He's very wise man. And he was telling me about the 12 programs. I was reading about these 12 programs you guys have. Case management, citizenship, and immigration. It's like something where, obviously a lot of you need citizenship and immigration. Trying to bring your family over, I get it. By the way, I'll marry anyone for $40,000. I'm just letting you know. I'm for sale, okay? Employment and tax services, financial assistance services, education services, healthcare access services, counseling and support services, a lot of you need. Community services and civic engagement, refugee services, and this is why it's important because when I say Middle Eastern women are crazy, let's look at Nahla. You had to be crazy in order to be a refugee yourself and then start this. Only a Middle Eastern woman could do something like this. Only you. Only you. It's amazing. Refugee services, my dad was a refugee to this country. And he had a hard time because there was no program like this for him. In fact, he even learned how to speak English by watching television, which is why he ended up speaking Spanish for the first year because he put it on Telemundo and didn't know it was on Telemundo for like 2 years. It was crazy. Si es bueno. But you do refugee services, the youth group, the future. We have Tariq. Tariq is in the building, part of that youth group, who's been a part of this organization for almost 15 years. And now he's grown into a man. He's a volunteer, volunteering his time. He graduated from UCLA with a degree in Arabic and neuroscience. I don't know why. I mean, you speak Arabic, Tariq. I don't know what, but he did that. And so he's also single, so if any woman wants to marry him, we're gonna bring him up and auction him off later. Maybe for the silent auction, we can make a lot of money. Tariq is gonna be a doctor one day, so. I keep bringing up the doctor thing because our parents only want us to be doctors. Like anything is a doctor, it's crazy. And sometimes it's not easy to talk to Middle Eastern parents about stuff because of the way, like white American parent is like, I love you, Bob, I love you, Bill, I love you. But like Middle Eastern parents like, I love you, Yahmar, stupid. Like they have to that's how they have to hurt. And it's hard sometimes to talk to Middle Eastern parents. I had to have a conversation with my dad over the break. I had to tell my dad that I was gay. And here's the thing, I'm not gay, but I thought it'd be easier to tell him that I was gay than that I was not gonna become a doctor. I thought he might accept that more. And the thing is, I was like, Bubba, I need to talk to you. And he was like, what? And I was like, turn the news down, Bubba. He's like, what? I'm like, Bubba, I'm gay. And he said, I know. And I was like, whoa, I'm not. Bubba, I'm not. He's like, yes, you are. You're always going to the mall. You have the earrings. You're hanging with your boys. Oh my God, it's my fault. But he did something I never believed. I couldn't even imagine. My dad looked me in the eyes after that. He was like, Tehran, oh my God, I know you're a gay. You even smell like one. You smell too good. But Baba June, I love you. And he had never just said that to me. He was like, Baba June, I love you forever. You're my number one son. I love you forever. And as long as you become a gay doctor, I will always love you. I will always love you. It doesn't matter. But I'm looking at these things, at these programs. You have the youth group, women, infant, and children. That's very important to me because that is the future. Like I said, the women are the backbone. The infants are the future, and they have these workshops and these classes, and that's why this isn't for like when they ask for donations. You're not giving them anything. All AccessCal does is give back. So you're actually giving back to yourselves. That's why this is important. These 12 programs, which by the way, I really think you should have 13 programs. If you could add this maybe in a next board meeting for Middle Eastern people driving in America, because they still think they're in freaking Baghdad sometimes. Like, yo, bro, use your turn signal. It won't burn out. It's okay. Because if you're in the Middle East, you realize that things like red lights are just suggestions. They don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. I'm gonna get a little real here because I hope you guys are on board for this, but I was in the Middle East with Ahmed. Do you guys know Ahmed? He's a comedian. Very famous, very good friend of mine. And I was in the Middle East. We went to several countries, Lebanon, Syria. We were performing for the troops. Not the American troops, by the way. The other people need help too, you know? But we were performing for the troops. We went to Egypt, Dubai. I went to Dubai. Seriously, that whole city's made out of gold, bro. What's up with that? Like, are there a lot of Khalijis here today? Khalijis? Huh? Yeah, the Khalijis have too much money. They're not refugees. You're right. I was going to ask one of them for discount on gas, but I guess it won't. But there were a lot of different things. I was in this, and I hope this doesn't offend anyone because I want to tell a story of something that happened, and I hope you guys aren't offended. But I'm with Ahmed, and I don't speak Arabic. I speak Farsi very well. I speak Farsi. The Persians, you guys are here? Yeah, ما میتونیم پرسر همینا حرف بزنیم بخاطر اینکه اصلا نمیفهمن. But I don't speak Arabic, so I asked Ahmed how to say thank you in Arabic. And you know what he told me to say? Yo, like I said, I hope no one's offended, but he told me to say kol khara. So I'm walking around freaking Egypt at the hotel. I'm like, kol khara, sir. Like, I'm in the taxi, I'm like, kol khara. And he's like, no, you kol khara. And I'm like, no, you kol khara. And he's like, no, you kol khara. I'm going around saying this to everybody for like 3 weeks, and then I found out, I come back and I find out that's a bad word. So I finally learned how to say it correctly, bustizi or something. I'm glad I'm learning better Arabic. I need to learn Arabic, and I need to learn Arabic. I need to learn more Arabic. And I need to hang out with Mr. Agassi, who also is a platinum donor. Where's Mr. Agassi? Are you there? You're over there? I would have talked about you earlier, but you're not a doctor, so he gets to go first. But you're also a platinum donor, and it's very important that you, as a role model in our communities, guys, thank you very much. You can applause for them because they gave a lot of money to be here and have donated their time and effort. I'm very proud of them. And the thing is, look at all that money. A doctor, and what do you do, Mr. Alasi? What do you do? Water treatment? Water treatment. Oh, okay. Homeland Security watches you, bro. No, that's the thing. Even as successful as you are, like when you go to the airport, they give you a hard time. They have to. Dr. Al-Khuli, they definitely give you a hard time. I'm looking at your face. But they give us a hard time. They never give me a hard time. They never give me a hard time because I look black. So they look at me, they like, nigga, you good, go. But like my dad, they always give my dad a hard time. But then again, my dad also does things to make sure he has a hard time. Like he grows his beard, he wears flip-flops to the airport with jeans. And then he always tries to bring stuff that you're not allowed to bring on the plane. Like, he knows you're not allowed to bring water every time he tries to bring water. I'm like, Bubba, they give you water on the plane. I don't trust their water. I want my own. So last time we were flying into LAX, my dad's bringing a bag. I'm looking at him bring water. I'm like, Bubba, they're going to make you throw away the water. You're not allowed to bring water. You're going to get in trouble. He's like, look me in the eyes. And he just said, it's not water. And I'm like, Bubba, I'm looking. It's clearly water. He's like, shut up. Trust me. We get to security. Of course, they say, sir, you're not allowed to bring water. He says, it's not water. They're like, sir, that's water. They're like, it's not. I put it in the freezer. It's ice. It doesn't say no ice. You never said no ice. I'm bringing the ice. Ice is legal. Because you guys are tricky. Middle Eastern parents are tricky. Tricky people. That's why, like, simple things. I'll be filling out a college application. I'm asking my dad normal questions. I'll be like, Bubba, I need to, because I call him Bubba. I don't know his real name. I've called him Bubba 30 years. I don't know what his name. I'm like, Bubba, I need to fill this out. He's like, okay. I'm like, Bubba, what's your first name? He's like, my name? Tell them. What's the next question? Let's get to the next question. Bubba, birthday. What's your birthday? September. No, don't put that one. Because you guys all have 2 birthdays. It's tricky. But that's the thing. That's why I'm always proud. I'm always going to be proud. I'm always going to be proud of being Middle Eastern. I'm always proud of my culture. I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud because everyone thinks it's so different. Being black and Middle Eastern is so different. It is not. It is not. Or being Persian, like, you guys have to understand, I'm Persian, I'm half Persian, half black. Basically, I am Arabic. It's very same. Like, Iran's here, Africa's here, we meet in the middle, boom. It's very same. Language is very different. Farsi sounds like a song. Salam, chatori, khubi. Arabic sounds like you're gonna kill someone, especially when, like Ahmed picks up the phone one time, he was like, hello? Bye. I'm like, Ahmed, what happened? He's like, oh, nothing. My mom just wants me to get some McDonald's for dinner. It's just very different. But I'm very proud. I'm very proud of all of you guys because of all the work that you've done. Like you set an example. And the thing is, if you look at the United States, there's a big racial divide. There's a big racial divide. There's racism in the United States. But if you look around, there's all people of all colors here. There's a racial thing in America where it's like black people hate white people hate black people, everybody hates Mexicans. It's messed up, to be honest. It's very messed up. It's very messed up. But the one thing I learned from my dad, and Middle Eastern people are not racist. And I love that. Middle Eastern people just hate everybody. And they hate other Middle Eastern people. It's crazy. Like, we had some other Iranians move in, and my dad's like, oh, there goes the neighborhood. It's goddamn foreigners moving in. It's crazy to me. It's crazy because it's like, my dad swears that Middle Eastern people are white. They're white. Like, white people don't think you're white, Bubba. But he swears, he's like, no, Tehran, Iranians, Iran is the land of the Aryan. Iran, we are white. Iranians are, I mean, you're black, but we are white. We are white. Like he really believes it with his heart. And the thing is, I grew up in Washington, D.C. Outside of Washington, D.C. is Virginia. Virginia is very racist. In fact, it's so racist, there's a city called Lynchburg right next to Blacksburg. Very racist. Like, it's crazy. And I was 8 years old. When I was 8 years old, I was in the car with my dad. We got lost. Now, to this day, he swears we never got lost. Because Middle Eastern men will never admit when they're lost, no matter what. Like, we're driving around in circles. We drove through the woods on one thing. I mean, we were lost, but he wouldn't admit it. I'm sitting in the car. I'm 8 years old. We get pulled over. Now, when you get pulled over, for those of us who aren't white, you know what it's like. White people, they just high-five the cop and drive away. It's crazy. But for us, it's like 4 cops, 3 helicopters, 2 warning shots to the back of your neck. It's not a pleasant experience. And the cop comes to the window and is like, license and registration. Now, my dad has this thing where he thinks if he says my friend, like he's like, my friend, and he has to move his hand because it's like a magic spell. My friend, that the person becomes his friend. This is not true. It has never worked. It has never worked. My friend. And the cop goes, license and registration. And my dad hands him license and registration. Now he goes back and there's another police officer. And my dad's like, shh, everybody, shh. It's just me and him in the car. I don't know what he's talking to. Shh. Now this is where it gets serious, guys. I want to tell you this is very serious. The cop talks to the other cop and the cop says, what's going on here? And the cop that pulled us over says, nothing much, Sarge. Just pulled me over a couple of niggers. And my dad got mad. So mad, like Persian terrorist dad mad. Like he was twitching, he was sweating for no reason, started biting his own body. Like cursing, like just going crazy in his head. And when the cop came back, this is what happened. Cop comes back and my dad looks at him and goes, what did you say over there, officer? What did you say? You saying you pulled over a couple of niggers? That's what you're saying? That's my son. He's 8 years old. That's what you're going to say in front of you pulling over a couple of niggers? Stupid officer. He's a nigger. Me, I'm white. Guys, you've been a lot of fun. My name's Tehran. Before I go, I want to bring the members of AccessCal and some of the volunteers up to the stage because they deserve so much. Listen, and it's not like me. You guys need to get on your feet when I bring these people up. I want to bring Amira up because no one's ever seen her. Amira, don't be shy. Where's Amira? We're making her come on the stage. We're making her come up here. Yes. Tariq, you come up too. Grab Amira, come up. Hisham, Sheikh Yasser, come up. Don't be, come on. Hala, Neda. Everybody, guys, come up. Come on up, please. If you don't know and you've never seen her, this is Amira. No one's ever seen her face. She's like a ghost. Let them see your pretty face. Good. I don't know if I could touch her. I don't want to get stoned. We're good. We're here. Guys, come on, keep clapping. Don't be shy now. Guys, get up here. Who else should I bring? Yes, come up. MJ, come up. Yo, Nancy, where's Nancy Atala? Get over here, Nancy. She's their PR person. Like the only reason I even had the opportunity to find out about AccessCal, which by the way, I'm a lifetime donor member forever now after speaking to them, is because of Nancy. Nancy, get up here, please. Yo, Sheikh Yasser, everybody knows what you look like, bro. Come down. Tori, where's Tori? The Afghan, Tori. Tori, come on. I saw you in Kite Runner. Come up. Zena, where's Zena? Zena. Nancy, come here. Come here, Nancy. Malahat, where's Malahat? Malahat's here. Yeah, she's the Persian connection. Once you go black, you never go back. Once you go Persian, there's no other version. Come on. Who else? Sana. I don't know where MJ is. MJ, I'm not talking Michael Jackson, guys. Bring her, where's MJ? Come on. Tori, come on. Such a beautiful something you're wearing. I don't know what it's called. This is called something. Get up to the front. You look like you're about to do an Afghan dance for us right now.
Somebody asked me at the elevator.
Yeah. Come on, don't, especially Bia, Zutabia. Bia. Mona. Both Munas. Come on up. Who am I missing? Sana. And of course, MJ. And we couldn't do any of this. None of this would be possible without Nahla. Nahla June, please. AmeriCorps members, get up here. Don't be shy, guys. Guys, no. I will not accept this. I need everybody on their feet. Give them a warm round of applause because they deserve it. They work very hard each and every day to make sure that our community is integrated successfully in this country. They work with refugees. That's why it was important. Melissa Fleming ships them over, they take care of them. So what happens? Yeah. See? It's like, it's like a nice Al-Qaeda meeting. It's great. Where's Zena? Where's Zena? Zena, are you standing there and like acting like you don't know us? Don't be too cool for us. She's doing technical stuff. She's remixing. She's the DJ. Zena's the DJ. Ali, oh my God, Ali. Yo, here's the funniest thing. The most common names I was in the Middle East are Muhammad and Ali. I was watching a soccer game, and I swear they were like, Muhammad passes to Muhammad. Muhammad passes to Muhammad. Muhammad scores goal, Muhammad. It was crazy. Huh? Amu Khalil. Yo, Amu Khalil, that is my boy. Lamia. Guys, I shouldn't even have to call you one by one. At this point, everyone should be on the stage. Lena is too cool. Lena, there's not enough. That's the thing. It's not too many. It's not enough. That's why we need more. You have to look at these people right here you're looking at. Can I say something? Over 30,000 programs they've helped people. 30,000. Over 11,000 refugees. That's it. This is all of it. This is all the people helping. That's why we need money. That's why we need more. These people put in their time. Even if you take like per person, if you do the math, this is why we need Vivian. She's Asian. I don't know the math. There's Vivian. Vivian, I need your help with math. Yes. Amu Khalil, get up here. Amu Khalil's like, he's Carmen. Where's Carmen? Amu Khalil, get up here, man. You're the oldest one here. We need you. Amu Khalil knew Jesus by her first name. They were best friends. Come here. You're my boy, man. Yo, Carmen, where's Carmen? Amir? Okay, at this point, I think you're making up names. You're like, we need Abdullah. Bring in Abdullah. Just bring one Abdullah. Two Abdullahs, going once, going twice. Iman. Yo, these are the people that make it happen. These are the people that have affected and changed people's lives.
Carmen, here's Carmen. Yay!
And now I would love to give the program back to Mr. Amir Abdullah, please. Give him a round of applause. He's been your MC all night long. Dealing with you people, it's not easy. Sharp dressed, man. Look at him. Hey, you don't have to get black with me, bro. We get it. You didn't have to do all the, I'm only half black. I only half understood what was going on. I don't understand all of that. Looking at this stage right now, that's why there's hope. This is the face of hope. These people should be in the jar outside, preserving dignity and enriching lives. AccessCal, ladies and gentlemen.
Please continue. A warm round of applause for Tehran here. Thank you, half-brother. And one more round of applause for these fine people on stage here with you. Tehran, I just heard it was your birthday, so happy birthday, Tehran. Where'd you go, man? Oh, there he is. Happy birthday, man. It's your birthday. Day to you.
No. Let's sing it in Arabic. Honestly, can everybody together?
سنة حلوة يا جميل سنة حلوة يا جميل سنة حلوة يا طهران سنة حلوة يا
Thank you. And I'm so glad that Nahla became an organizer and not a singer, because honestly, guys, I hope you've all had a wonderful time.
And let's make sure you get your parking validated. You know,
Get your trust me.
Make sure you get the parking
They're Arabs.
validated.
They're getting their parking validated.
All right.
Don't worry about that. Listen, the
Just
Jews
making
learn
sure.
from us. Don't worry.
All right, I got you. All right, and we'd also like to.
Silent auction too.
What about it? Yes, make sure you pick up your items for the silent auction. Okay?
If you bid on the silent auction, make sure you go and check. And if you didn't bid, it's okay. Bid even if there's nothing to win. The prize is this, the community. That's it. That is the actual prize. You're not paying to get something, you're giving. That's all.
That's right, and we'd like to announce the date for next year's gala, which is Saturday, February 6, 2016.
Which you're all going to be late for, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. Anyway, that concludes our evening. Have a wonderful night, and thank you very much. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum. Ahlan wa sahlan.